Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Michael Kell is back. I should say Dr. Michael Kell, man with many names, and his real name is Michel Polyakov. He's got so many accolades underneath his belt, and he's here to help us today, as always, enlighten us. That's what he does best, and of course, enrich our lives. And I didn't know that he's enlightening and enriching his own life, and you're taking a class? What's going on?
Well, actually, I'm going to just mention this quickly, but I've come across a class, and there's probably like 500, it's master class, okay? It's probably 500 men there. It might be 3. But since I have a really well-developed feminine side, I fit in fine with them, because I know how to make them feel good. And but the lady's name is Claire Zamit.
Okay.
And she started, like, said 20 years, started the Woman-Centered Coaching Institute or school.
Okay.
And so they actually teach coaches how to properly teach females, with female issues, which I think a lot of males have similar issues. They just may not be so clear. And so I think we're in the 3rd week, maybe a little longer, but I think there's 6 modules, and it's really good. I mean, it really teaches people what they should do, particularly females, but it works for men, I think, and it works for spirituality really good. Because one of the things I've learned, and she talks about, is that people are stuck in a self-concept based on the past, right? What happened as a kid, what you decided to do. And so they think their self-concept has something to do with who they are now, but it's not really to do with who you are now. It just influences who you are now.
Yeah.
And so people keep repeating the same mistakes they always made. They don't have any insight into what's going on. And they feel like shit, excuse my language. And just uncomfortable, they're isolated, whatever it is, some major things. And so what she does, and what you do in spirituality, is that you show people that, self is kind of a fluid concept. And it's really not a good word, but we don't really have another good word. But if you look at how people are, I mean, imagine this is how you really are. Imagine this is a big outside sphere resting in the universe. Okay. And that sphere is who you fully are when you're fully actualized, which you can call mage, master, mistress, whatever. Okay. And then inside that is another sphere, which I call steward. Okay. And then there's a smaller sphere called deputy steward. And then there's a smaller sphere called our concept of self right now, which is based on a bunch of smaller spheres from being brought up. And so if you show people that what I'm saying, even the names may be different, is actually true, then what you can do is you try to place them in deputy steward, which is a higher state, which means there's something in you that's looking across all the personas you have, all the things, mindsets you have, everything you believe, and trying to sort them out for you and put all the ones that are beneficial to you growing spiritually and being healthy into one pot, and then either killing off the other ones or trying to convince them to agree to be nicer. And so that is a way of ego purging, and most people don't talk about that. They think you have one personality. You have a million of them, I don't know a million, but you have a lot that you picked up as your kid just automatically, like that person did this. So, okay, I take that part apart. And so we're full of eyes, so to speak, tons of them.
Yeah.
And what happens is that there is a metaphysical position we have, which I call the ergo-egotic apparatus, which means the working ego. And it's what gives us present. And so one ego state is on that one for a little bit, then another one takes over, another one takes over. And if people would think about how many times have you sincerely promised to do something? Okay, maybe a lot. And then the next day, you don't do it or you don't want to do it. Clearly, there's not one person in charge. The ego personality, which one deputy steward wanted to be altruistic and helpful. The other one is selfish, wants to be self-centered. And so if you can get up to deputy steward, then we can start sorting out, it sorts out. And if we pay attention, we learn which is which, sorts out the personas. And deputy steward knows a lot more about life than we do, about the future. Not that's 100%, but it knows more because it has a bigger knowledge base. Because deputy master can talk to steward, even though steward's not a person yet, it's a potential, but it has knowledge, information in it. And so as deputy master works, eventually steward takes over. And so now your yourself is connected with steward. It's a potential. And then eventually, if you really work hard, and it might take a few lifetimes if you're lucky, is you get to activate master. So you're in full realization of what you actually are. It's kind of like your spiritual vortices, in the ocean of the universe. And she doesn't use those words, but that's what she does. Okay. And as a psychiatrist, I learned really quickly that you can't talk to a crazy person. You need information, you have to speak to a sane person. And you can take somebody that's schizophrenic, on a little thing. It's not super bad, but bad. And just say, John, stop it. I need to ask you some questions and you need to tell me the answers. And I don't have time for this other stuff now. We'll go back to it after we answer it. I have fun talking to you in your visual, in your worlds. Okay. I find it entertaining and that could be helpful. And so a lot of times they can do that, and so clearly there's something organized in them. Okay. And that's the deputy steward coming through.
Wow.
Even though it's a very low level, you'd be sane right now. And so that's just a whole technique for doing this, and she's like, and I find that women that do like affiliate marketing stuff are pretty anal in the sense that they want to give you, it's like a mother, they want to give you everything they can possibly give you, which is great. Okay. So you go to her modules and she gives you the video, which you can't download that. You can download the audio. You download the transcript, the edited transcript. Of course, it has to be edited, okay, before she's done. You download all the slides. You download the handout. And if it's a practice guide, you download it. So you have all this information, which is much richer than most anybody ever gives you. And so it's really cool. And so her name is Claire, and I don't know how she says her last name, but it's ZAMITT. It says Woman-Centered Coaching is the name of her company. And she's like really profitable. She makes, she's in the Fast Five guys, and they all talk to each other, affiliate body marketers, and they make all over $100 million a year. They have big staff and can do cool things. But she is, when you listen to her talk, she's one of the most insightful people I've ever seen do therapy. Of course, she's called coaching so you don't get sued, doing coaching. She can take the information the person gives her and summarize it in better words, and simpler, like anybody. I mean, when it's my hand, I said, here's my manifest. Here's my manifest. I want to be a superstar spiritual mentor, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, and that's my gift. I came from God. She goes, yeah, I can see this, blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what she said, but it was pretty cool. And so I really listened, see, past the conscious mind like a trance. And so anybody who's interested, and her prices are pretty good.
Yeah.
For things, is that she's worthwhile going to a master class, even if you're not going to be a coach, just to work on yourself. And she doesn't say much about the spiritual side, but I saw that. I told her, I said, I already see the side. And that's why I'm here. And so I would recommend her. I don't get paid by anything for recommending her. I don't want to be paid for anything. So that's what I'm glad you mentioned that. That's what I want. Her name is Claire Samit, and it's women-centered coaching. So I think I put in women-centered coaching. Probably the best search thing. And you don't need artificial intelligence to find her, which is not really intelligent. It's really artificial or intelligence augmentation, because it can't think, doesn't know it exists. So that. But the other thing I want to talk about a little bit today, as we have some time, is I want to talk about how foolish we are. Now, really, the word I'd use is stupid, but I'm going to say foolish, being nice, because I'm on your show. Okay. And I don't call it, in a sense, you call it ignorance a little bit, but in some people, it's not ignorance. Ignorance means that I don't know something, but I want to find out the answer and how to use it. And so you can really educate person, go out in the country somewhere and find somebody who has very little education, assuming you can communicate, and you can find out that actually they have a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Because they haven't closed everything off. And so I'll try to pick a few points here, but one of the points I think is important to realize, okay, and it even affects me. I mean, all my life, I've been successful in whatever I wanted to do. And it doesn't mean I didn't have to work hard. It doesn't mean there was things not to overcome. Okay, but I always succeeded. And I would go into fields that everybody said, I should have been in that field. I don't have training. And why didn't they train? I'll learn myself, which I did really well. And so self-centered and stuff. And So even with all these things, the question is, well, how can I do so many things that I do in truth? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to areas I don't know anything about. I have to learn the area.
Mm-hmm.
And what the difference is that when we realize that we don't have all the knowledge we need,
Yeah.
and we can't go to books and other people all the time to get all the knowledge we need. But it's a good idea to go to books and to go to other people that we think are experts, called mentors. And so if you think about it, all of our lives, we ask questions to our parents or teachers about why does this work or how to do this, right?
Yeah.
So when we start out, we ask questions because we didn't understand, we didn't know how to do it, and we understood we didn't know how to do it. As people grow up, egoism takes over, and they think they know that they know, which clearly isn't true because look how they live their lives. It's pitiful, okay? And even celebrities are pitiful sometimes. Not you, though. And so the thing we need to realize is that, we need to be open to higher information. And the reason I say that is because when I talked about deputy steward is a part of our accessible self, our real self that you can get information from, and then steward, and then eventually master. But you have to develop those. I mean, they have to be solidified. We have to know they're there and work to awaken them, so to speak. And so we're always looking elsewhere for knowledge. And people who are wise and get things done are willing to go to someone who knows the answer. Or even more importantly, they're willing to open themselves up to higher knowledge. Okay, knowledge, it just comes to you. And like I've learned to do that really, really well. And if you hang around with me, you'll know about all the puns and jokes I make up. I mean, they're funny, sometimes a little bit trashy, but how can I do it? I mean, I go, how can I make a punchline and make a joke? It's impossible unless something's feeding me, into information. And so when we open ourselves to that and realize that sometimes, like the religious people say, that you need to ask God, or the Holy Mother, or an angel for some extra information. Okay. That is a fact. Now, whether the people in the religion see a religion properly or not is another issue. But information is available because the universe is intelligent. There's intelligence in the universe. I mean, at every level. Look at a thermostat. It knows when to go on and off. It doesn't consciously know it, but it does it. So that's intelligent behavior. AI doesn't know what it's doing, but it can help you organize things. I got to check it for errors because it makes a lot of errors sometimes. And recheck it, and you can see, well, this is giving me information that I can use to make, do a plan. And we're really foolish not to acknowledge this, and that's why atheism is a difficult place to be, in my opinion, because it's very minor. It's like 5% of the population, I would say that. Some are agnostic, but that means they're on the other, they're on the side of there is a divinity. This may not be like churches say. And so they don't have something necessarily to turn to. Now, the ones who are really, really successful in a lot of areas don't want to admit it, but they have access to higher knowledge. I call it direct knowing. And when you have a question and you ask and you sincerely ask, the answer will come to you when it's appropriate, when you need it. Not when you want it, but when you need it. And so we have to stop being foolish, because we're smart when we're kids because we ask questions, and search for other people to help us. Which if you go to this, like, Claire's program or Ryan Levesque or all these affiliate guys that do education, which is like a really good place to be money-wise, really good, that's what they sell. They give you information in a way you can digest it, with counselors and all kind, coaches and stuff, to show you how to be bigger, to be more successful. You see, so that's a kind of higher knowledge, that's more available than some other kinds of knowledge. And if people would just realize that, their lives would go a lot better. And the other thing to realize is, this is for people who, actually probably everybody, but probably different slant, is that, I don't know anybody who can actually say with a doubt that what happens today was a good thing a year from now, or even 2 days from now, or 10 years from now. You can't, because what feels good to you now is like it feels to your body, okay? In your human brain, it feels good. It feels a desire, but that desire may not be a great desire to have, and it leads you down the wrong road, right?
Yeah.
And whether it's a sin or not, who cares? It leads you down the wrong road, and so that takes more work to recover. And I explained too much again. It happens to me. My brain goes boing. But just 1 second here. Okay, so if you take a moderate point of view, and realize that I'm working on my life, but I need some guidance. I got a destiny line, so I need some guidance, which is not necessarily deterministic, but some guidance. And I have to be open to the fact that something that happened to me, which may not even be my fault. In fact, it may have been everything I did was perfectly 100% right and godly, but you work with the devil, so it doesn't work. Okay. But I have found that never in my life, after some time, not why it happens, but later on, that I didn't see that as a great idea. When I broke up my first girlfriend when I was in university, broke my heart like everybody does. Okay. But I actually felt a crack. It's interesting. But, I am really glad now, well, even before that now, that didn't work out, because she would have been a crappy wife, no matter how much egalitarian I am. And so I found that everything that happens, even if it's hard and troublesome, I don't mind anymore, but I'm not getting like crippled. Okay. You can throw some things out, but in life, because you know what? They cannot overcome me. They could confine me. They could torture me, but they can't win me, because I won't give it to them. And I'll give you an example of how strong that is. When I was a little kid, like probably 6 or 7, my dad used to always say, Michael, be a banker or be an investor, because you're really good with money. Which I was. And we knew how to make money at 6. Okay. And I said, I don't want to be a banker. And I was adamant. I do not want to be a banker. I don't know what I want to do, but I'm not going to be a banker, investor, or have anything to do with money. Okay. I was so strong in that feeling that it created a controller in me. Okay. That I shouldn't be doing things that have to do with money, which I haven't done. I mean, I made a lot of money, but it wasn't because of the money. Okay. But now going into a whole new thing, trying to be a celebrity and affect a lot of people, you see, that means I have to make a lot of money, because I will. So I remember that this little guy in me, this little boy, said, well, we weren't supposed to do that, remember? Because by keeping you out of that, you did all these good things to help people. Okay. And there's something different. Sometimes you didn't have enough money, but overall it was good. But now it's okay to let it go. The little boy says, I don't have to watch over you anymore when hypnosis. Okay. And do this, because this, what you want to do now, is what you need to do now. And if you need a lot of money for it, you get a lot of money for it. So, so how can I say what happened to me was bad? I wouldn't change my life. I got a few more kisses here and there, but other than minor detail like that, my life is good. I helped a lot of people. I made mistakes. I'm not perfect. I don't feel bad about not being perfect. As Claire says, she says the women are all brilliant and imperfect. Well, I don't think brilliant's a good word, because it means some people are super brilliant, but everybody could be insightful and be happy that they're imperfect, because if you're imperfect, you can change. If you were perfect, you would never change. You'd be bored, and life would be really bad. And so I recommend that people find someone to talk to. I mean, psychically, even if you make it up. I mean, we make up deities anyway, so you can make up your own deity. But someone who, you can have a trust with, that this information is going to be useful to you, and do something with it. And you'll find your life may not seem better immediately, but when you look back, you say, wow, that was really a good thing to start listening to higher knowledge. And you don't have to call it God. You don't have to call it anything. It's there. It's part of you. But you have to be open to it. If you're not open to it, you don't get to use it. It's just how it works. It's about choice. I've got a few more minutes left, I guess.
Yes.
The other thing I want to say is that
Go for it.
That it's probably going to be 2 shows I'm going to start doing. One for sure, but Joe would know both of them anyway. So, but the videos like her show. But I want to do something. My next ambition is to start another podcast with video that goes out syndicated, which I refused to do before. Sort of stupid, but that was part of my, not making too much money stuff. And it's going to be called Radical Healing and Radical Enlightenment. And I'm going to share what I've learned over all my years of life here, plus my other lives, of how to become enlightened while you're working, taking care of a family, which is how most people do it, And most people don't do it that way, but that's the best way to do it because you get more experience, and hopefully you get enlightened enough that you can be reborn again and work on it some more, because most people aren't going to get to master in one lifetime. And the other thing is when I was taking another course, a guy named Christian Michelson was a trip in the healing. Okay. I don't know if you know him, but he's interesting. And so I met a lot of people on one of his show, 4-day boot camps. And so one of the people I met and talked to knows like 45 spiritual healers, different kinds of modalities. So I'm thinking, oh, we need a little cooperative here, help each other and do stuff. But this way we can get it out on the show. So some part of the show is going to be interviewing people, because I don't like to talk all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, we might have a show with guests. I still talk, but not too much. And, and really try to get some knowledge out there that people can use. It's practical. So I got a lot of things I learned about healing that most people don't understand. And it's not like I made it up all. Some of it did. Just because I make it up doesn't mean it's not true. Is that, to put things together and synthesizing and stuff, and so, again, only a foolish person would deny other methods of healing to someone, especially if they can try them out and see if they work. Okay. I mean, some are totally irrational, but why you just go to the doctor? There's a lot of stuff, there's cases of new thought in the 19th century, which now is, probably called energy medicine. It's changed a little bit in concepts, but there's a lot of things to try out there, because I know I can just talk to somebody who feels bad, has a pain, just talking to them, in the right way, pain is relieved or goes away for a while. Okay. And so there's apps and healing you can do. And I've done a lot of it. And I'm really good at migraines. Migraines is my best thing. Migraines in women, I can fix because energy comes through me and it resets their brain. And so, I would treat them and they'd get a migraine. They call me up on the phone. I go, Michael, I have a migraine. I said, okay, let's get rid of it right now. They go, where'd it go? I go, I told you, just get rid of it. You don't need it anymore. Your brain's learned how to do it. You don't have to have me there. And so there's so many things out there that some of it, a lot of it's hoax, but some of it isn't hoax. And I'm going to sort out for people what I think is legitimate. I can't always explain exactly how it works, but I'm always thinking about it. And so that's what this new show is going to be about. And I don't know if I'm going to break it up into radical healing on one place and radical enlightenment on the other. I should talk to you about that, because you're smart.
I'm coming on the show to be healed. Thank you.
But look up Claire. Joe, look up Claire Zimont. And nobody has to contact me. That's okay. So I think this is our last show, unless they offer me a super discount.
Oh wow.
Which I'd like, but
well, they should. You've been like a long running guest. Come on.
Well, they should. Well, they do.
Here how many months?
But they want you to, in order to go and get like a trailer for like those monthly things they do. Well, you'll be there interviewing me, okay? You have to have a real interview, I guess, but not too many questions. And that's like $5,000. Includes transportation, but it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I don't mind helping, but I don't mind paying. But someday it should stop. No more pay for me. You guys just pay. And and so these are things. But I'm sort of used to talking to you, because it must have been like 20 weeks, probably longer, because we couldn't do it some weeks. Mm-hmm. So you can talk to Ashley and say he'll stay, but he needs a really good deal. Then I got to look at the statistics, make sure that you're getting a lot of credit on your show and seeing a lot of people, so I don't hurt you instead of help you.
I will ask her for sure. Oh my goodness, you're so funny. Oh my goodness, yeah, 'cause it would be so sad, but we're not saying goodbye. We'll see each other one of these days for sure. We'll keep in touch clearly. Yep. But oh my gosh, it's so sad. You're like my favorite guest. But yeah, we don't say what is that line? You don't say goodbye. You say
fare thee well.
Farewell. What was it?
I say fare thee well.
No, it's something else that says you say, like, not see you next time, but if you say goodbye, it's like finalized.
I don't know what it is.
Say
adios. You can say
I don't know, but it's something to like reconnect. There's a line. Sorry, I don't know.
That's okay, because the feelings what counts, not the words per se.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. I'm so used to doing your show now that I like it.
It's not my show. It's your show. It's your show with me just talking to you.
Your show, and I'm your guest.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, even though I talk a
Well,
lot.
it's a pleasure having you here and always to see you again. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Okay.
Sounds good. Hey, if
Thank
all
you
your
so
your
much.
listeners complain that I'm not there, then you can tell Ashley.
Okay. Exactly. Because
They don't have to pay me
Cal's
for it. They don't
gone.
have to pay me anything for it. Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. We'll
Thank
talk
you,
soon.
and you're a
Okay.
wonderful, wonderful person.
Thank you so
I
much.
love you dearly.
I love you too. Thank you
Okay.
for
Thank
everything.
you.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great day, sweetheart. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Till we meet again.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.